Hello there, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to take the activity of doing the weekly food shop and looking at how you can put your energy conservation strategies into place to pace that activity, to plan, and the importance of planning, prioritizing, and also thinking about your positioning when you're carrying out that activity as well. So here goes. So doing the weekly food shop, lots of different things to consider here. First of all, maybe thinking about what time of day you go and do the food shop. You might need to think about the outside temperature or the weather, if it's particularly hot or cold or icy or pouring with rain, and how that's going to affect your ability to do it. Considering if you're driving to the shops, we'll consider to start with whether it's what time of day you're going, whether it's rush hour or whether it's a quiet time of day, and trying to pick a quieter time to go. You need to consider what sort of supermarket you go to, whether it's you're going to a large one or a small one. Do you need to go to a large supermarket? It's going to take an awful lot more walking around and wear you out a bit. Or whether you could actually go to a smaller supermarket and do a shop just to tide you over. Think about the other commitments you've got during the day. Is this the day that you've set aside and it's the only thing you need to worry about really for the day? Or is it just one chore that you're trying to fit in amongst many? And therefore, are you planning ahead and making sure that you've got time to pace yourself and to rest after the activity? And it's not just after the activity, but pacing during the activity as well. I think we'll come on to that in a minute. Think about whether you're actually feeling up to it, prioritising. Is it something that you need to be doing today, or should you be putting it off to another day? Can someone else go instead just to tide you over again? Are you happy to go, or can you give someone a ring to get it for you? Planning ahead, so writing a list to plan your shop. Maybe even sort of thinking about writing that list into categories as well of your frozen food, your fresh fruit and veg, your fridge or chiller section, or your packets and things. So it's easier just to go around and collect everything as you're doing your route around the store. And then, is there a delivery service? Do you have to be loading it into the car and out again the other end? Or is it possible to get it delivered from the store? Thinking about maybe doing an online shop instead. I think that's probably the way to go for most people at the moment. Certainly saves a lot of effort walking around. But even with the online shop and having to cognitively focus on the computer and focus on putting your virtual basket together, thinking about doing that in small bursts, small chunks, and probably an idea if you're finding yourself getting quite sort of fatigued or like the brain fog is kicking in, just save that basket of online groceries and go and have a rest, or go and do something and come back to it fresh for the final check, just making sure that you've only ordered 2 carrots rather than 2 kilos of carrots, for example, and doing a final check through before you actually do your online payment and have to present your credit card and things. All right. Just thinking about after you've done a food shop in the flesh, so where you've actually gone to the supermarket, what are you going to do then? Are there seats nearby if you need to be able to sit down and rest? Would you feel more comfortable walking back to the car and resting in the car with less risk of getting ill? Can you allow time to sit in the car and have a bit of a rest before you then drive home? Thinking about your biomechanics and body position and things when you're loading items into the car, just being careful not to injure yourself, making sure you hug those heavy bags close to your body, bending your knees to keep your back straight and using your large muscles in your knees to slide items of or bags of groceries into the boot of the car. Maybe putting down something like a plastic backed fabric or a tarpaulin into the back of the car, so that when you're unloading you just pull the tarp towards you rather than having to reach at full length to get the bags that have slid to the back of the boot. Or using boxes, putting the bags into boxes in the boot to stop them sliding. Okay, so again with pacing, just breaking down the whole activity so that you're taking regular times to rest. So this might be things like taking a rest before you unload the car or before the delivery man arrives. Take a break then to be fresh for doing that. If it's hot weather, making sure you've got maybe a cool box handy with some ice packs in it, ready for delivery of perishables, and then you're not having to rush and put those perishables away. You can just put those bags straight into the cool box. So taking delivery or bringing the bags of food into the house, again, take a rest before you then, presumably you're washing down the goods before you put them away in your cupboards. And that's quite time consuming as well and fatiguing. So maybe it's just a case of washing the perishables first and drying them, putting them away, and then you might well need another rest then before you then wash the rest of the goods, and you might need another rest before you then put the items away in the cupboards. So it's just breaking an activity like that down. It can be exhausting. It can be hard work on your body as well. So just break it down, and you should be able to achieve it. The other important thing to think about as well with the positioning is just to maintain a good posture throughout the activity. So I've said about the importance, like when you're loading items of clothing, items of food and bags in and out of the boot of the car. But just bear in mind when you're carrying bags of shopping and when you're putting items away, you're likely to be a lot weaker now than you have been for a long time. Your muscles will be quite deconditioned, and that's when it's easier to get injured. So whereas you might have been able to get away with overstretching or twisting while you're lifting something, you've really got to try and avoid doing that now. So just making sure you're keeping your back in a straight, neutral position, keeping that gentle curve in the base of your back, where you above your bottom, and avoid flattening that out as you're lifting items, and that should help keep you safe. So doing a lot of squatting or lunging to pick items up, so you're using your larger muscles rather than smaller muscles that are going to fatigue quicker. And making sure as well that you try and store things between shoulder height and knee height, so that you're not having to bend down too much or bend or stretch up above your head too much as well. I think that's about all I can come up with for shopping. Again, just hopefully that's giving you some fresh ideas of how extensively you can look at daily activities and analyse some of the other activities that you're doing. And I'll come back and we'll look at another activity together sometime soon. All right, thanks for watching. Bye for now.